Welcome into the DFS Den. It's Dave Eddy here, aka Corporal Eddy on Twitter. You can probably hear it in my voice. Been a little bit under the weather this week, but I'm still here, and I'm still bringing you to the new format that you've asked for. We're just going to do one video on Friday night, which is tonight as I'm recording this, and I'm going to publish it for you. But the only thing that you're going to notice difference besides that is I'm going to be taking a swig every once in a while during this so that my voice doesn't kill me. So let's hop into things here for you. Week 4, let's start quarterbacks. Let's talk about cash games. I'm going to start at Josh Allen going up against Baltimore, 8.4K on DraftKings. Listen, it's pretty simple. He's got the highest floor on the slate, best possible quarterback matchup in the game that has the highest over-under as well. So kind of hard not to lock Josh Allen into cash. Not a guarantee at this point that that's what I'm going to do, but it's looking to be that way. We do have other options though, and all these other options are basically the same price. We got Lamar Jackson opposite side of the field, going up against Buffalo, 8.3K on DraftKings, so $100 less. Lamar has been passing at just an all-time high level, still running wild on the ground though. Hard to fault anyone that plays Lamar this week in cash. Definitely one of the options. The next pay up guy, we got Jalen Hurts going up against Jacksonville. 8.2K there, so 100 less than Lamar, 200 less than Josh Allen. Tougher matchup than either Allen or Lamar have. But, he's just been out of this world this year. Passing at by far the highest rate of his career. He's got 300-plus yards passing in each of his last 2 games, and he's accounted for 3 touchdowns total in each of those last 2 games as well. These 3 are, like I said, essentially the same price. You just got to decide who you want to play. You're not really saving a whole lot, playing Hurts over Allen is $200. Everything helps, but, odds are you don't need the $200. You can make it work elsewhere. So, those 3 guys, you just got to decide what you want to do. If you do want to pay down, Geno Smith against the Lions is, I will at least say, interesting at 5.4K. Seattle does rank 9th in pass play percentage, surprisingly, and 11th in the pass rate over, expectations. So, they do throw the ball more than you would expect. I don't know that there's any reason to pay down in cash. And we'll talk about later why I don't even think that the Detroit-Seattle game is as good as what people think it's going to be. But I do want to give you, I guess, what would be my top pay down option, if there is going to be one in cash. So let's head on over to MME. We're going to be talking about a lot of the same guys here. Excuse me here. All right, we're looking at Josh Allen, again, going up against Baltimore, 8.4K. Going to be the most popular quarterback on the slate, rightfully so. Like we said, fantastic matchup. You can stack him very easily with Stephon Diggs. It makes that very easy. Options on the opposite side of the ball to run it back with for Baltimore. I don't know how you get away from playing Josh Allen this week. Most times I look for ways that I can get off of the chalk of the week, and I just don't see getting off of Josh Allen this week. And then we go down to Lamar again, same kind of situation. That those 2 guys are going to be the 2 highest priced quarterbacks this week. I'm not really seeing a lot of ways that we can reasonably get off of doing that. So, I'm gonna be playing them. And then we go Jalen Hurts, same situation. Probably a little bit easier to get off of Jalen Hurts than as the other 2 guys, but a lot of times I just simply roll with 3 quarterbacks for MME, figure out my percentage of how I want to play them, and that's where I go. Because those 3 guys are going to be so popular this week, I'm probably going to slide in a 4th, Justin Herbert. He's going up against the Texans. He's 7.1K. I'm going to do it as a leverage play here. Not only because the other 3 QBs, are going to be so popular, but this is also like a bounce back spot for Herbert. He had a subpar week 3 because of those 3 guys mentioned above him. He's going to come in under 5% owned, I would imagine. And listen, if you want to get a little bit more different, even just to differentiate them Herbert stacks from others, you can stack him with Eckler. You can stack him with Everett. I almost think that that's my favorite way to go about it, because I think everyone's going to stack him with Mike Williams. And even though Herbert isn't going to be very well owned, if Herbert does go off, I would like to be at the top of those Herbert going off stacks. So Eckler or Everett is my favorite way to go there. As a matter of fact, Eckler, since Keenan Allen has been out, does have the highest target share percentage on the team. And then, again, another point for Everett is that's great leverage off of some of the similarly priced tight ends that are going to be more popular as well there. So sorry about the drinks, but that's the only way I'm going to be able to get through this one. So that's quarterbacks for you. Let's go ahead. Let's talk running backs. Again, we'll start with cash. I just go in order of price from top to bottom here. Saquon Barkley coming in at 8K, high volume, great production, good matchup. I don't know what more you want out of a running back in cash. No guarantee at this moment here, Friday night, but he very well is going to be a cash lock for me. Jamal Williams, 6.1K. Swift is out already ruled out. That makes, Williams RB1 in an offense that don't let the, points per game fool you. This is a team that wants to run the ball. Williams was already getting the money touches. Now he's likely to see, even more action in the passing game. So, I'm a Lions fan here, so I probably have a little bit more of an in-depth opinion on this than most. But, Williams is not going to take on all of Swift's vacated touches. But he was already productive when Swift was in the lineup. So, even a little bit of additional work is going to make him all that much better. Craig Reynolds is going to see a good amount of work here. So don't think that, Williams is going to have like a 80% snap rate or something this week. He's still going to be less than you want him to be, but more than enough to pay off 6.1K. Miles Sanders coming in at 6K. Sanders quietly has been getting a healthy amount of touches. He's just outside the top 10 in carries. He comes in 11th. He presents, pretty nice leverage off of, some Hurts chalk. I don't know if that's exactly where I want to go in cash, but it definitely is an option just to, throw another name in there for you. Khalil Herbert, 5.7K, cash lock. David Montgomery's out. He had a full workload basically last week, went for over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. No Monty getting in his way this week. Played a terrible defense last week against the run. Goes up against a better but still bad defense again this week. No reason to overthink this one. Just lock him into cash. And then Dameon Pierce, 5.6K. You take out the kind of weird week one where Rex Burkhead led this backfield. Outside of that, Pierce has been seeing basically elite volume, and that's what you're looking for in cash is volume. Just volume. And he's also getting elite work inside of the red zone, and that's even counting week one. So in the red zone, he has the second most rushing attempts in all the league. So, that's definitely an option for you in cash. Now we get to MME, Saquon Barkley, again, he just continues to see his usage increase each week. He's going to be very popular, likely third highest owned running back on the slate, but he does have the highest ceiling. So as long as he's not pushing, 25 or 30%, which I don't think he will, then he's a guy that I'm interested in MME. If he gets too popular, then it just almost gets to the point where it doesn't make sense to play him, but I don't think we're going to run into that. Jamal Williams, again, talked about him. He's going to be more than likely the highest owned player on the entire slate. What it comes down to in MME is you just need to decide if he's too good of a play to avoid, kind of like a Josh Allen would be for me this week, or if the chance of failure is high enough that you can use his high ownership to gain leverage elsewhere. Listen, I really like Williams in cash. If you watch Hard Knocks, or you see, clips of Jamal Williams, he's an awesome dude, like amazing teammate. But likely I'm going to be fading him here in MME. I just don't think that I just don't think that this game, like I said earlier, is going to be, as high scoring as, the over under indicates. And so I just think that this game is going to underwhelm, and in a lot of things we talk about upcoming is going to be a reason why I'm not so heavy on this game. And then we get into Miles Sanders again. I mentioned him as a possibility as a cash play. He's definitely an MME play though. And like I said, been getting good amount of touches, but at the end of the day, it comes down to leverage off of people that are playing Jalen Hurts stacks. He's coming in at 6K, so I really liked him last week. He kind of disappointed a little bit there, but very, very much in play here this week. And then another guy we talked about, Dameon Pierce. His volume the last 2 weeks, his price on a very tough slate salary-wise, 10%, his sub 10% ownership, just makes him a nice play. And, honestly, it does give you a nice opportunity as well to stack him with the Texans defense just for even more leverage on, the field. And you gain correlation with that as well. And then last guy I want to talk about, Rashad Penny, comes in at 4.9K. Again, I think this is a game that severely underwhelms compared to the over-under. As such, this gets you leverage off of the wide variety of passing game options that are going to be available in this matchup. And his price is ridiculously low. I mean, 4.9K for a guy who could get 60% of the snaps in that backfield. That's something that I'm happy to sign up for. Then we get into wide receivers. So we'll start with cash. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, killing here. Oh boy. Okay. Stephon Diggs, 8.4K. Cash lock for me this week. I mean, he's going to see the volume. He's got an incredible matchup. Unforced correlation with Josh Allen. If you play him, that's again, it's nice. We don't force correlation. I don't force correlation in cash, but I'm happy if I get it. Just don't overthink this one. Play Stephon Diggs in cash. Deontay Johnson comes in at 6K. Basically consistent as they come so far in 2022. No explosions at this point, but he just keeps getting catches, and oddly enough, those catches average out to be about 10 yards each. So he's a guy who's going to get you 5 for 50, 7 for 70, something like that. But I think he's a great cash option for you this week. Romeo Doubs really came to life last week. I think potentially he's your wide receiver one target wise in Green Bay going forward. But as of right now, the price does not reflect that. This might be the last week that we can, get him as an extreme value. So at 4.5K, he's a guy that you really got to consider heavily playing in cash. And then if we want to go even lower, just because, want to give you options all across the board here when it comes to cash, you got Richie James, 4K. Purely a wide receiver punt play, just as he's a cheap value option. Outside of Barkley, there's no guaranteed touches on this Giants team. Provides salary relief, which is probably going to be much needed. And God, if the guy gets you 8 points, you're happy he's paid off. So you're not asking for a lot from him there. And if he's a complete failure, you probably need the salary relief anyway. So hopefully you make up for it by paying up elsewhere. MME wise, again, Stephon Diggs, highest ceiling on the slate. He's going to be popular, but if you play Allen, it's really hard not to play Diggs right along with him. At the end of the day, you need to decide if eating the chalk is necessary here, or if you think that there's a path to failure, that's an option, or that's a choice you've got to make on your own. Drop down $1,000 to AJ Brown, 7.4K, top stacking partner for Jalen Hurts. You, however, can very easily get off A.J. Brown with Devontae Smith, who I'll cover soon, and then Dallas Goedert, who I'll cover later. But I can't argue playing A.J. Brown, but it's just getting leverage off of him is going to be so easy this week. Drake London, 6.1K. London has been significantly better than his teammate Kyle Pitts, but he continues to go under-owned. And I think that trend continues here. I think people are going to keep playing Pitts until he has a monstrous game, which, could definitely be this week. But, London has a very similar ceiling, but he's been doing it so far for us this year. And, I mean, obviously you could play Mariota here. I think Mariota is going to garner some ownership. I'm not going there, but I do like the idea of a Drake London and Nick Chubb like mini secondary stack. I think that makes a lot of sense this week. If just a way to help you get that lineup more correlated. Tyler Lockett, 5.9K. If it's a game, between Seattle and Detroit that you think does, hit or even exceed that high over under, then I think Lockett is the guy that you're playing. I know each week you kind of got to flip a coin between DK or Lockett. I think this week, Lockett is the easy call. He's seen more targets in the last 2 weeks than DK has. And I'm not a huge subscriber to, wide receiver cornerback matchups, but DK is probably going to draw Jeff Okudah, who to this point this year has shut down Terry McLaurin, Devontae Smith, and most notably last week, Justin Jefferson. So I think that there's a lot of reasons to go ahead and just go at Lockett this week, if that's the route that you want to take in that game. Devontae Smith, I mentioned earlier, pivots off of A.J. Brown. Again, I think it's very easy to move off of A.J. Brown to Devontae Smith. He's going to see half of the ownership that A.J. Brown's going to see. And the dude's had 15 catches for 250 yards and a touchdown in the last 2 games. And you save $1,600 at the same time. So, I think that I'm going to have more Devontae shares than A.J. Brown shares in MME. But either way you want to go, Romeo Dubs, 4.5K is mentioned above, could be getting wide receiver 1 targets going forward in Green Bay. Unless he gets steamed over the weekend, he's going to see under 10% ownership as it stands. And at this price, man, I'll eat some of that up for sure. And then last guy I got on the list here, cheapest guy I'm going to discuss, Zay Jones, 4.2K. And listen, man, for as much love as Christian Kirk has gotten so far this year, and, he's not a guy that I had high expectations for, but, I mean, he's been a baller this year. Zay Jones has very similar metrics, and he's got twice as many end zone targets. He's got the same number of targets as Kirk in the past 2 weeks, comes in at $2,000 less, but with the same ownership. So, I mean, MME wise, it literally just makes more game theory sense to play Zay Jones, over a Christian Kirk. So you do what you want to do there, but that's the way that I'm rolling this week. So let's talk some tight ends here. And of course, we start with cash. Mark Andrews, top of the list, 7.1K. He is your pay up tight end this week. He's got close to twice as much of his team's target share than any other tight end. So the volume here is just off the charts. Now it's going to be hard, if not impossible, to find the salary for him in cash this week. I guess if you play him, then you probably can't play Diggs, along with Allen or one of the other top quarterbacks. But I mean, that's up to you to decide how you want to go about it. But, playing Andrews means obviously you don't have to worry about a punt tight end, but you're going to have to save a lot of cash elsewhere. So you can do it, but it's going to be hard. TJ Hawkinson, 4.1K. DeAndre Swift and Amon St. Brown are out, not to mention that Shark and Josh Reynolds have been missing or had limited practice so far this week. So, Hawk might be like the last option in that passing game. And he's not that expensive. So for cash, most certainly an option. David Njoku, 3.7K, comes in even cheaper than Hawkinson, but a significantly higher ceiling, in my opinion. Probably going to be playing Njoku in cash unless an absolute punt option does emerge. I don't really like paying, a mid-price tight end, but there are no punt options that I'm comfortable with this week. So Njoku being the cheapest of those options is where my interest lies. Now, when we get into MME, it's going to be some of the same names here. Mark Andrews, league leader in target share, and the dude's a tight end. I feel like if you're playing Lamar, you almost have to stack him with Andrews. Obviously, you're just pissing on chalk right there. You'll have to find ways to get different elsewhere, but it's hard not to play him with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. Dallas Goedert, guy I mentioned we talk about when we discuss A.J. Brown. It's going to be a nice leverage play here in MME off of A.J. Brown and, heck, even off of Devontae Smith, to be honest with you. And it's also leverage off a similarly priced tight end. So there's a few different ways you're gaining leverage by playing Goddard here. So I do like him. TJ Hawkinson, 4.1K. Talked about him in cash. Definitely an option there. I'm not going to be playing him, I don't think, in MME. I just don't think he's got the ceiling. In MME, you're looking for guys, that are going to 4x or higher on their salary. So 16 points is what I need from Hawkinson, and that's certainly doable for him. I just don't feel like his ceiling is anywhere near the other guys we're talking about. Now maybe the guy at the very bottom, his ceiling is higher, but there's also $1,400 price difference, so that would be maybe a lot of reasons why you would play him as well. But I had to mention him just because he's going to be the second highest owned tight end behind Andrews this week. And with all those injuries to Detroit pass catchers, I get why people want to play Hawkinson. I really do. I just don't think I'm going to be that guy this week. It seems like a pretty easy fade to me. And part of that reason is the next guy, again, talked about him in cash, David Njoku, 3.7K on DK, $400 cheaper. Just like in cash, I like Njoku more than I like Hawk. $400 in savings means a hell of a lot more to me in MME than it does in cash, especially when the ceiling between the two of them is, I think, so drastically different. That makes Njoku just a no-brainer play over Hawkinson for me. As long as Njoku doesn't get steamed up ownership-wise, he's probably going to be my highest owned tight end of the week. And then I wanted to discuss real quick Isaiah Likely, 2.7K. Absolute extreme leverage play on the slate. Not only are you getting a different piece as a run back for a Josh Allen stack, not only are you getting a different piece for, a stacking option for Lamar, but you're getting a shit ton of leverage off of Mark Andrews as well. And so this isn't to say that Andrews is going to get shut out or that Andrews is going to get hurt or anything like that. This is just to simply say that, Isaiah Likely, I could see, a game from him. He gets 6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if that does happen, even if Andrews has a big game, you're getting a lot of leverage still with having Likely in there. And if by some reason, something terrible happens with Andrews and Likely just becomes that number one target there, man, you could be really shipping some cash. So definitely something that I've got in play. I don't know how much, if any, I will do. He may end up being my second highest owned tight end. So it could be anywhere in between. But if you want the ultimate leverage play this week, on the entire slate, all positions included, that's Isaiah Likely. It's just a matter of, do you got the stones to do it? So, choice you got to make. All right, let's get into everyone's favorite part, defense and special teams. We'll talk about cash here real quick. I'm always punting cash, defense, special teams. So I'm really looking at two teams right now. Titans at 2.5K. Basically, Matt Ryan sucks ass. You're just hoping for a couple turnovers and some sacks. You're not paying a lot of money here, so you're just hoping that your defense is serviceable, and I think in this matchup they can be. And then we got the Seahawks. Lions are 2.4K on DK for the Seahawks, so basically the same price as the Titans. But Lions are playing without their top running back. They're playing with at least without their top wide receiver. An offense that's been pretty explosive is going to be hampered. You really just need, again, some sacks and some turnovers, and voila. So if you think that that's going to be a high-scoring game, then, Seahawks become an even better play. Let's go MME. Steelers, 3.6K. It's a tough salary week, so paying up for a defense should make you fairly unique. Might be hard to do, but, defense special teams is usually a place where in MME I just simply try to be unique. And it's almost always paying down, but paying up is certainly an option as well. They get Zach Wilson in his first start coming back from injury, so you could see, lots of points off turnovers and sacks there. Giants at 3.1K. Shout out to my boy Keith Lott, his favorite team here. going up against a just disgustingly bad Chicago Bears offense. But, they are priced up here to where, ownership shouldn't be crazy high. The real concern with the Bears for me is that, all that, or that for the Giants is all that the Bears are going to try and do is run the ball. So it makes it impossible to get a sack, makes it hard to get turnovers as well. But, I mean, this is the worst offense in the league. So playing the defense that goes up against it, all they need is a pick six off of Fields, and you're probably golden. Detroit Lions, 2.8K. Listen, Lions defense is terrible. But the theory in playing them here is that, you expect that the game is high scoring, as the over-under would indicate, which means that there's going to be lots of passing, which means opportunities for turnovers and sacks. And again, turnovers and sacks is how you score points with your defense and special teams in DFS. So, they're not expensive. They shouldn't be very popular. Definitely an option in MME. Texans at 2.4K. Charger stacks should have some popularity. They obviously aren't going to be one of the top 3 stacks, but they should be within the top 5. So this defense is about, saving money because, again, 2.4K, so close to the bottom. So you're going to be saving money, but you're also going to be gaining leverage because not a lot of people are going to be playing the Texans up against the Chargers just because they expect that the Chargers will, put up points and all that. So, in this case, you really probably would prefer Keenan Allen plays just to drop the ownership because, again, you're mostly looking for leverage here as well as saving money. And you can do that with the Texas defense this week. And the very last thing we got, Seahawks, 2.4K. Very similar to Lions play. Again, you're hoping for a high-scoring game here. And you want to capitalize on turnovers. You want to capitalize on sacks while saving money. With the injury news coming out today with Swift and St. Brown being out, I could definitely see the ownership here on this Seahawks team getting steamed up. So by the time we get around to Sunday, this may not be, the type of play that it is, right this exact minute, but we'll have to just check ownership. They probably are somebody you should play unless they literally start to get up like above 10%. You should definitely have some exposure to them unless, they hit that threshold, I would say. So hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of a longer version here where we put everything all into one basket for you. My voice managed to make its way through this pretty decently. I only need to take a couple of chugs here. But hey, listen, I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back again to do this week 5. If you haven't done so yet, I don't know why, but please go ahead over here, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and turn on those notifications so you get an alert every single time a new video comes out. It does us a huge favor by subscribing. Joe pats me on the back every time, we get a handful of subscribers from these videos. So you're helping me out as well as helping yourself out. And then please drop a like on here. I would greatly appreciate that. And listen, we'll see you guys next week. Good luck on Sunday.